god. Oh god. Oh god. What did I do to deserve this? Hey everybody, Sol here. I have only one rule here. If it's animated, I'll comment on it. And today's the day we finally wrap up the Sonic-tacular! Not since the Ben 10-a-thon have I been so eager to wrap up a month-long special event. After all, I went to the doctor during the week and he told me that most of my major organs have liquefied off the stress of doing the Sonic-tacular. I have weeks of painful surgery in the coming days. But let's not let that ruin the last day of the Sonic-tacular, so let's not dilly-dally anymore. Let's take a look at the history of Sonic Boom. Sonic Boom is a 3D animated series produced jointly by French company Guido Productions and Sega of America for Cartoon Network and Ghoulie. The series began airing in November 2015 with a total of 52 11-minute episodes, and was released as part of the Sonic Boom spin-off series of Sonic the Hedgehog games, which includes Rise of Lyric, Shattered Crystal, and the upcoming Fire and Ice. The series was renewed for a second season that is slated to air in fall 2016. Okay, great. That's out of the way. Now, you guys ready to start the final cartoon of the Sonic-tacular? I know I am. Let's just get into Sonic Boom. You know how people say that show Seinfeld is supposedly a show about nothing? I don't watch that show, so I don't know if that's true or not, but what I can say for sure is that Sonic Boom is most definitely a show about nothing. It hardly even has a plot, and all the episodes are episodic, give or take some running jokes, so there's basically nothing to say here. I mean, it's pretty much what you'd expect. Sonic and his merry band of compadres defend their island home against the evil Dr. Eggman and his robotic army. Yep, that's it. Nothing more to say. Now, I don't mind a minimalistic plot if it's done right, but in this instance, it just means that pretty much nothing interesting happens in this series at all. Great, we go from Sonic X having way too much plot to having no plot at all again. I guess that's good for the sake of this review so I can move on quickly, but when you're actually watching the series with no plot at all, it kind of makes it an inane experience. But let's move on to the characters and see if there's anything of substance there. Alright, I can do this. I'm ready. Okay, bring on the characters! So first off, we have Sonic. Hey everybody, holy lumpy oatmeal, it's Sonic! Yes, I can't even muster a big sarcastic introduction for this Sonic, and for good reason. This Sonic, well, he just doesn't feel like Sonic. Oh sure, he's got the super speed, impatience, and grating arrogance that Sonic is known for, but there's a certain blasé attitude towards his depiction, making every second he appears on screen tiring to say the least. But where does this Sonic fall on the official cuntometer of the Sonic-tacular? Let's check it out and see. Well, based on everything I've seen, I'd have to put him fairly high up on the meter. I know I said he doesn't feel like Sonic at all, but that's the point. He feels almost like a shell of Sonic, who, even though he's got on my tits a lot during the Sonic-tacular, did have a strong, scene-stealing personality. Here, he just sits around scarfing down burgers and chili dogs and never does anything interesting. But when he actually does get around to doing stuff, he just comes off as being a pretty big, throbbing, well, cunt. Some people are probably gonna disagree with me on this, but hey, that's just how I feel. So, sue me, why don't you? The usual settlement's $30,000. Following up, there's Knuckles who— oh my god, what the hell did they do to Knuckles? He looks like a red roll of half-squeezed toothpaste. Oh, you poor thing. It's okay. It's okay. Calm down. Calm down. As long as he maintains the poise and dignity he had in Sonic X, then everything will be okay.
Heck, I don't know how to do simple things like putting on mittens. I don't even know which end of the toothbrush goes in your nose. You only think I'm not in much condition to... whatever you said. Oh, wait, I can't read. You said civic. Is it a magic boot that you rub and a genie comes out and grants you wishes and all I have to do is give you all my money? If so, I'm in! Because the last one you sold me didn't work.
Seriously, what the funkin' wagnalls did they do to Knuckles? He went from being a gullible but good-natured powerhouse to being a complete moron that pisses people off with his idiocy. Why? Why did they turn him into a blistering retard? Ugh, as you can probably tell, I do not care for this change at all. Then there's Amy Rose, whose romantic interest in Sonic is much more downplayed in this series. She's the most level-headed and mature of the group, acting refined and ladylike, but she's bossy and manipulative, as well as self-righteous and irritable, which just makes her come off as a huge bitch. Next up is Tails, who is still the team's trusty mechanic and inventor. Tails is a little bit more in-your-face about his intelligence in this series, but overall, I don't mind him all that much. Then we've got the only new main character, Styx, a paranoid feral badger who spouts off ridiculous conspiracies and superstitions in a voice that sounds like the verbal equivalent of cheese graters running along a garbage can. No, that's not quite good enough. She sounds like Cree Summer if she had laryngitis. No, that's not quite it either. Her voice sounds like a chorus of mandrakes screaming to the tune of nails on a chalkboard while having their testicles crushed in a vice. Yeah, that sounds about right. Other than her voice sounding like, well, everything I just mentioned, there's not much to Styx at all. She generally just tries to force out some humor by spouting random shit at times, but it's hardly ever amusing. Lastly, there's Dr. Eggman, who wants to build a theme park on Sonic's island home. Eggman is portrayed as an ineffectual bumbler who never succeeds at anything, but who the hell am I kidding? Dr. Eggman is not Dr. Eggman. He's the fucking Ice King from Adventure Time, but with none of the compelling backstory or humanizing tragedy. I mean, he's goofy and incompetent as a villain, has an odd frenemy-style relationship with the protagonist and his comrades, lives in a big, empty lair with friends of his own creation, tries to act hip and cool but just comes off as creepy and weird. Shall I go on? I'm not sure why exactly they decided to portray Eggman like this. Sometimes it serves his character well and can be somewhat amusing, but other times it just comes off as lazy and obnoxious. Oh, I suppose I should mention Eggman's robotic henchman Scratch and Grounder. Sorry, I mean Sleet and Dingo. No, they're called Deco and Boko. I mean Orbot and Cubot. Geez, that joke got old fast. Orbot is the smart one, and Cubot is the dumb one. Yep, that's about the extent of their personalities. Now, there are a lot of side characters in this series that make multiple appearances, but I'm going to skip them because none of them are interesting, and their dead-eyed stares make me uncomfortable, so I'm not going to linger here long. Speaking of uncomfortable, it's starting to get a little bit chilly in here. It's not a regular chill, it's an unearthly chill. One that's penetrating me deep down into my spine. What is that? Well, anyway, let's move on to the good things, okay? I could've swore I heard something at the door. Never mind. Let's just get up in this bitch, okay? Once again, I'm back to not having much to say here. I would have thought that Japanese Sonic X would have set the standard of quality, but I guess I was wrong! So, what do I think is good about this series? Give me a minute to think about it. Aha! I've got it! Even though the majority of the humor in this series makes me want to pull out my teeth with a pair of rusty tweezers, there are some jokes in it that did garner a chuckle from me. This one is definitely my favorite.
Capable is my middle name.
I thought your middle name was The.
Obviously, humor is subjective, so I group the humor in with the good because, while it may not make me laugh very much at all, I can certainly see others finding much more amusement in the jokes. In tandem with that, I do enjoy some of the character interactions, despite the fact that it seems like everyone in this cartoon hates each other. But that's something I'll get into in a little bit. Huh. Even I thought I'd have more good things to say than that. But I guess I don't. So, no time like the present, eh? Let's move on to the bad things. Yeah, let's move on. No, I'm not doing it. I'm not opening that door. I know whatever's on the outside is something bad, and I don't want to have to deal with it. Oh, and speaking of bad stuff. I know I just said a minute ago that the humor was a good thing, but that's just in a general sense, as many people might find the jokes amusing. I, however, do not. The whole series' humor comes from being all self-referential, or just relying on lol what random rafflecoptering, the likes of which spew forth from the darkest boards of 4chan. Like I said in the Sonic X review, fourth wall breaking can be hilarious when done right, but here it just sabotages any and all possibility of me ever getting even the slightest bit invested when even the characters themselves can't take it seriously. Actually, that leads me into one of my biggest problems with this series. Nobody gives a shit. Everybody and everything just seems tired and has little to no energy, even during the fight sequences. The whole series seems to carry itself with an oddly cynical laziness that makes me believe that nobody working on it even wanted to in the first place, manifesting in the not-so-subtle vitriol everyone seems to harbor for one another. There isn't even the lure of seeing some cool Chaos Emerald or Supersonic action because they're just flat-out never mentioned in this series. Oh, hey, there's Shadow! Okay, bye Shadow! Oh, and in regards to the animation, when I first saw some promotional images for the show, I actually thought the redesigns were alright. But then when I saw them in motion, it sent a chill down my spine. Everybody but the main characters all have dead, lifeless eyes and stiff, cement-like movements that look more robotic than the actual robots. I know that doing CG animation for a TV show can be difficult and corners have to be cut, but did the cut corners have to be the ability to stare into the eyes of these characters and not see the deepest abyss of hell? Not to mention the lip syncing is pretty awful too. The lip movements never seem to match up with the words. Again, I know lip syncing is hard, but Jesus Christ, get your priorities straight here. I'd rather have non-terrifying character models than a few extra strands of hair in Eggman's mustache. Just a few final notes here before I move on, since I don't want to pick on this series forever. Like, why the crap is everyone in this cartoon dumb as dirt? Even the so-called smart people in the Bandaged Brigade are fucking morons, and it just feels like looking in through the grimy window of a short bus. Awkward, wrong, and you probably shouldn't be doing it in the first place. Okay, I think that's enough picking on this cartoon. Believe you me, I had a lot more to say, but I think you guys understand my feelings without needing to go on a huge tirade. So, let's wrap up the final episode of the Sonic-tacular with a look at my least favorite and favorite episode, and whoever's there better fucking stop. Okay, my least favorite episode is a doozy, people, and that one is Don't Judge Me. In this episode, Dr. Eggman fakes a broken neck after battling Sonic and brings Sonic to court. Knuckles the amazing dumbass serves as his defender and hilarious hijinks presumably ensue. That is, if you haven't fallen asleep or changed the channel yet. I greatly dislike this episode because the humor isn't funny, the humor isn't funny, the humor isn't funny. Oh, and did I mention the humor isn't funny? Also, this episode really pisses me off because it's pretty much the exact same plot of a SpongeBob episode that I rather dislike. So that's a double whammy of shit for everyone. Picking a least favorite episode for this series was like finding a needle in a haystack. Or like finding a quill in a haystack. You get it? Because hedgehogs have quills and they're sharp like needles, so yeah. Hey, what do you want from me, okay? Look, I know that joke sucked, but it's way better than anything Sonic Boom has to offer. Fuck, I'm not a comedian. What the hell do you want from me? Anyway, my favorite episode is New Year's Retribution. What the fuck do you want from me? In this episode, it's just about New Year's, and Eggman wants to have a decisive victory over Sonic at least once before the year ends. So Eggman makes time slow down so he has enough time to beat Sonic at something before midnight. Now, I like this episode not for the plot, not for the humor, or anything like that. I like it because of the animation. The slow motion animation on some of the objects is pretty cool. Yeah, that's pretty much my only reason, not much else to say. Sonic Boom is in itself a bad joke. It's a self-referential piece of fluff and nonsense that's best played in the background of a doctor's office or something of the like with the volume turned all the way down. While I do admit it could have been a hell of a lot worse, the fact remains that it's a weary, cynical byproduct of a franchise that's fallen on hard times, and I certainly will not be returning for its second season. I give Sonic Boom one eye out of 5. So, Sonic Boom. Is it watchable? Not really. Like I said, all the side characters look like they're automatons forged out of the steel of Satan's den, but there are some moments that look passable. Is it enjoyable? Well, that's very subjective because of the type of humor the show employs. I would say that it is enjoyable to the right person, but personally, I greatly dislike the type of humor it employs, so it just doesn't work for me. Is it memorable? Well, no. No, not really, because most people remember Sonic Boom as those games. Those awful, awful games. And, to be honest, that's kind of a whole nother story. They do suck, though.
Did you say the game is awful?
The fuck?
You think my cartoons are awful too? You'll pay for those words!
Oh god. What did I do to deserve this?
Gotta go fast. I could really go for a chili dog now.
Happy fucking Sonic-tacular. Want to stay up to date with all the latest EyeofSol news? You can follow me on Twitter as well as on Facebook at twitter.com/EyeofSol299 and facebook.com/EyeofSol. I update them every day, so if you want to check out news on the show as well as updates, just follow the links here. Hey everybody, thanks for watching my review of Sonic Boom and the final review in Sol's Sonic-tacular. Very special thanks to Blue Rush 1992 for providing the voice of Sonic. His channel is linked in the description below. And if you guys want to check out the previous Sol Sonic-tacular episodes, you can see the annotations playing on the video right now. Or if you want to check out my various social media sites, you can see my links to my Twitter page and my Facebook page there on the screen for you, as well as in the description. If you guys have an idea for an animated series or movie you want me to comment on, you can leave me a message in the YouTube comments on any one of my social media sites, or just let me know in any way you can think of to let me know what you want to see, and I will add it to my list. Okay? Thanks for watching everybody, and I will see you next week for the first movie review of Season 3.